Hi friends, welcome back or welcome if you are new and welcome to today's video. Booker Prize season is fully upon us. We're only a couple weeks out of the shortlist being announced. Personally, I love these type of videos. I love people reacting to the long list. I love people reacting to the short list. I love seeing their predictions. I love seeing the reading vlogs. So I wanted to make sure to participate in the frenzy as well. A lot of these books and a lot of the authors that were longlisted this year, I have never heard of them. And just about 3 of the books that were longlisted really called my attention, especially because I already have copies of them. Funny enough, all the books I'm going to be reading in this vlog are arcs. So this could also be like a reading arcs for a week type of vlog. But one of the books that were longlisted, I don't have a physical copy, but I do have an e-arc of it, and it is Endling. I am so excited for this one. I don't know much about it except that it's set in Ukraine, something about a snail, conning wealthy Americans. This has been on my radar for a while, long before it was longlisted for the Booker Prize. So I'm really happy that this gave me an incentive to finally start that e-arc. And then I also have a copy of, I always forgot to say this word, it's Universality by Natasha Brown. This was sent to me at the beginning of the year and I haven't gotten into it. I have absolutely no idea what this one's about. I'm not gonna lie to you. Late one night on a Yorkshire farm, in the midst of an illegal rave, a young man is nearly bludgeoned to death with a solid gold bar. An ambitious young journalist sets out to uncover the truth surrounding the attack, connecting the dots between an immoral banker landlord and an, oh my god, I never heard this word before, an iconoclastic newspaper columnist, and a radical anarchist movement that has taken up residence on the farm. She solves the mystery, but her viral expose raises more questions than it answers. Universality focuses on words, what we say, how we say it, and what we really mean. Okay, that sounds interesting. I am a little bit intimidated by this author. I know she's really well beloved in the bookstagram space. I have never read her before. This was my first experience with Natasha Brown. So I'm a little scared, but I'm also quite excited. And finally, the last book that we're reading in this vlog is Flashlight by Susan Choi. And I have already started this. I started this a couple days prior because this book is big. 450 pages, and I'm just a little bit under the halfway mark. I'm really happy to say that I'm fucking loving this. Like, I'm adoring this so much. I'm currently in a little bit of a standstill. Like, it's a little bit slow right now where I am at the plot, but I'm still enjoying the characters. I'm enjoying the writing style so much. Literally, I read the first 111 pages in a frenzy all in one day. I was hooked. It took me a little bit to get into the writing style, but after 20 pages, I was fully into it. I was fully hooked. Like I said, I got into the groove of the writing. It's just a little bit weird because I'm not 100% used to reading in the third person. This is another art copy that I was interested in way before the long list was announced. And I put it off for a long time because I did not realize before requesting this arc that this book was this big. So I was a little scared. I'm glad for the long list for inciting me to start this because I am fully enjoying this so much. And this basically follows a family after a tragic incident has happened. Luisa was about 10 years old when her father, walking by the beach, drowned and died. They never found his body. It wasn't until hours later that the townspeople and her mother found her just by herself on the beach, and her father nowhere to be seen. And this book follows not only the events after, like how this family, the mother and the daughter who never really got along together, how did they cope with this tragedy afterward. I'm currently in the chapters where now Luisa is not a child, she's an adult in college. A lot of the first half of this book was following Luisa and Luisa's mother and Cirque, Luisa's father, before they met. It was following the childhoods of Anne and Cirque, which I personally really enjoyed because I love a character-driven story and the depth that it explores each and every character. They're so flawed, they're so not likable, but also likable because of their circumstances. Like, you get to understand them so deeply. We followed Anne's childhood, we followed Cirque's childhood and how they met, and then we also followed Luisa's childhood as well. Anne and Cirque are an interracial couple. Anne is American, Cirque is born in Korea, but he was raised in Japan from a very early age, and he identifies as Japanese and not Korean. This is set back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and back then there was the Korean War. Before reading books like this one and Pachinko by Minji Lee, I had no idea what the Korean War was. I had no idea that Japan was a colonizing state. This is not taught in US history class, you know what I mean? So we got to understand how the Korean War impacted Sirk's childhood. I mean, he is a Korean who doesn't identify as Korean. His entire life was in Japan. I'm really loving this. I'm really happy that I can come on here and say that this big chunky book is amazing. Like I'm halfway through barely, and I'm fully recommending it to a couple of people. Like it's so freaking good. I did not expect this in my bingo board. I did not expect to be so enthralled by it. I was honestly quite scared because of the amount of pages that it had, but I'm so happy that I have so many pages left. Like I'm so intrigued to see how this book is going. If this is not shortlisted, I am gonna be appalled. I'm gonna be disgusted. And I can confidently say this, not even halfway through. I'll come by later with some more updates on Flashlight, but right now, having the time of my life. So I finished Flashlight by Susan Choi a couple days ago, and I literally don't even remember what I last told you guys about this book because I'm currently reading and filming this vlog between other books and other vlogs, so it's a little bit jumbled in my mind. Definitely the last thing I told you was that I was highly enjoying this novel, but somewhere between the halfway mark, I lost a little bit of that momentum. I do think that this is a stunning novel with complex characters that you don't always understand, but that you do end up feeling sympathy for. I always do love a book that explores a set of characters in a very deep way, and it does get bonus points if those characters are a family. I so love getting to know this family through different POVs. We follow Anne, Louisa, and Cirque through very different stages of their lives, and we get to understand their reasoning between each and every one of their actions. I thought this family was so complex. I just love messy, complex characters, and so I loved each character in here. Another thing that I love was the writing. I have never read a Susan Choi, but I'm convinced that she is a master in storytelling. The scope of this novel is so impressive. I was so immersed in the writing and the narrative style. I do have a little bit of an issue sometimes when it comes to third-person narrative, but 20 pages in, I was completely hooked. It was such a clever narrative style to tell this story in particular. Like I can't imagine only having one character's point of view or thoughts or being immersed in only one character. I really liked bouncing between all of the characters. Going back to what I was saying earlier, I do think that the second half of this book, like somewhere between the halfway mark, I lost a little bit of momentum, sadly. It was many years after Luisa's father's disappearance. Anne and Luisa are left alone with their grief, and they don't really understand each other. I really like their complex mother and daughter dynamic. I always love exploring those type of dynamics. So I really love seeing in this book. But they're so different, but also the same character. Like they don't like to admit to themselves that they are literally the same person. And that's literally why they don't like each other, which I found so interesting. But it was during those chapters where we see Anne and Luisa many years after Luisa has now grown up. She went to Europe on a backpacking trip and now lives alone. I thought those chapters could have been, I don't know, I lost a little bit of momentum during those chapters. I didn't think they were super strong, but the overall story was enough for me to push through. I'm not saying that I felt like DNF in this story and either, just that I was a little bit bored during those chapters. It's a tad bit sad that I was getting 5-star tingles during the first 100 or so pages, but then the story lost a bit of its charm for me, brought me back, and it hooked me again, but I am settling for a 4.75 star rating. I don't usually tell my star ratings in this type of vlogs, but I thought I would today. But if this book isn't shortlisted, I am gonna be severely disappointed because I thought that this was such a strong book, and I was just left really impressed, and I really did enjoy this. I am so intrigued now to read more Susan Choi. I know that she's wrote Trust Exercise. I think that's the book with like the folding chair tipping back, if I'm not mistaken. Now I do want to read Universality by, I have this upside down,
by Natasha Brown. I did get sent a finished copy of this novel. If you guys remember, I do have an art copy of it here. The booker does open up a form and you can put in your info and they'll send you like a random book from the long list. Literally random. You have no choice in it. You don't know what you're getting. I signed up. They told me my book was coming. I was so excited to see what it was. Finished copy, UK edition of Universality. So I will be reading from this copy. I literally only know what I read from the blurb, which is that some guy is bludgeoned with a solid gold bar. I know that this is set during the pandemic, and there's something about a journalist, and it's a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of an expose. Sounds very, very interesting. I also do want to go on with this one because it's nice and short, and I fear that if I don't amp up my reading, I won't finish reading all the books that I want to read before the shortlist is announced. So, gotta move on, gonna start this, and I'll let you know how it goes. We are due a whole bunch of updates for this vlog. The first one is kind of a downer because I have decided to go ahead and DNF Universality. I just couldn't do it. I just did not care. I was bored. I read 50 pages and I decided, you know what, I'm actually not excited to pick this up, especially because this vlog is a little bit delayed. It was supposed to be like an extra video for the month, but it's gonna be a regular upload just because I just fell behind in reading for this vlog in the midst of other vlogs. And because of that, I decided that it was just not worth it to like slog for this book because I just don't have time for it. I really wouldn't have picked this up if it wasn't sent to me. I was liking the writing and the narration. It literally felt like we were reading the article, but I just don't really care. So I set down Universality and I decided to pick up Anlin by Maria Reva on my Kindle. I do have an e-arc for this book and it's one that I've been excited for a very hot minute. I did pick this up yesterday, so it was Wednesday. I'm really liking this one so far, actually. I'm not even 100 pages in, but I read about 70 pages yesterday. 70 pages have been really, really fun. I'm really liking the writing style. I'm really liking what's going on. I'm really liking the characters that we're getting introduced to. So this book follows Yeva. She is a young Ukrainian woman who's on a life mission to save endangered snails. She literally lives in a mobile lab and she goes around Ukraine collecting snails from their environments and trying to help them, like populate and survive, basically. The other interesting part about this book is that she is part of a foreign bride program. Basically, Ukraine has a very big sex tourism. So it's basically a lot of foreigners, mostly white men, who don't have any luck back home and they go to exotic countries to get an exotic woman. And she becomes part of that program just because it gives her a lot of money and that's how she funds her mobile lab. So we are following these very two distinct lifestyles of Yeva, her environmentalism, and then her kind of kind of conning them because she has no intention on actually getting married and going to live with these bachelors. Like the whole point of the program is that bachelors from the US come in and they'll get paired off with a Ukrainian woman and eventually you are supposed to find the love of your life. She has no intention of doing so, so she's just founding her lifestyle with this way. And honestly, I'm really liking it. It's been very, very fun so far. We're also following this other girl called Nestia, who's also in the bridal program, but she has a bigger plan for the bachelors. She basically wants to kidnap them, and I'm so sorry. I don't remember if this is part of the blurb, but she basically wants to kidnap them to send a bigger message to the world about what's going on with the sex tourism in Ukraine. I did want to go ahead and react to the shortlist. The shortlist was announced about 2 days ago. I've been avoiding spoilers. I got spoiled actually for 2 books, but I actually unfollowed the Booker Prize Instagram so that I didn't get any more spoilers because I refused to look at the list without you guys present. So I'm gonna pull up their Instagram and we're gonna finally see this damn shortlist and see if it's any good. I'm not gonna be screen sharing my screen just because that is absolute hell to edit and I don't want to do that right now. We're just gonna talk this through, okay? I'm seeing the real Flashlight made the list. That one I knew already because I had been spoiled for it. Really happy for Flashlight. It's so deserving of the prize. That book is amazing, guys. If the vlog hasn't convinced you, I hope the shortlist finally did, okay? It's so good. Oh, The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny made the list. I actually got my Libby Hold in for that one. I could read that one. It's so long though. It's a love story between Sonia and Sunny, but it like follows them through generations probably. I could be wrong, but it could be something I'm into. Audition by Katie Kitamura made it. I'm not really interested in this book. I'm sorry. It just sounds like it's a book about a play, and I don't like books about plays. I don't like books about painters or sculptures or art school or art exhibitions or anything to do with the art world. I find it all so pretentious, and I read quite a few books that are about the art world, are about the arts, and they've just been such huge letdowns. So I probably won't read this one. The Rest of Our Lives by Ben Markovitz. I have no idea what that one's about. I'm so sorry. Nothing about it caught my attention either. The Land in Winter by Andrew Miller also made the list. Haven't seen anything about this book. I was hoping that the South will make this short list just because I'm very intrigued by that one. You guys let me know if you guys have heard anything good about it or bad. Who knows? The last one is Flesh. I'm not interested in this one like at all. I'm so sorry. I just seen too many bad reviews about this book and I'm surprised that it made the short list, honestly. But I've literally seen screenshots of like the dialogue and it's so weird, clunky, and awkward. And it's also written by a man. That's all I gotta say. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna lie, the short was a little bit disappointing except for Flashlight. I'm so happy for Flashlight. That book is incredible. It should win the Booker this year. And I know it's brave of me to say that because I've only read like 1.5 books from the long list, but that book, guys, is so good. Like, I'm so sad that it wasn't quite a 5-star, but it's so high up on my ranking. It might just make my favorites of the year. I actually don't have a lot of 5 stars this year. It could be on that list. That was the short list. I'm gonna go and read more of Endlane. I'll tell you guys more updates whenever I have them. I'm here to close out this vlog. I have finished Endlane since the last time we spoke. I'm also here to apologize a little bit because I just realized that I didn't get any footage of me reading Endlane. I didn't get any b-roll at all, and I just realized this yesterday when I sat down to finish the last 30 minutes of my book. By that point, it was too late. I was not in the mood. Anyways, I hope you guys can forgive me for just this one time. I promise that my next vlog will have plenty of b-roll. Like I said, I did finish Endlane. I actually finished this off yesterday, which was Sunday. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very, very original and unique and funny, a little bit absurd, but without it being like too out of reality. It just had two very distinct plot lines that were very fun to read about, and it created a lot of funny, witty, kind of like I can't believe this is happening type of scenarios. So you guys do know that we follow our main character Reva, and she's obsessed with snails. She has dedicated her life to preserving rare endangered snail species in her mobile lab. And because funding for scientific research is slow and quite expensive, she does join a bridal program, one of many in Ukraine. And these bridal programs promise lonely, wealthy Westerners dates with docile and exotic Ukrainian women. The whole point of the program is to match Westerners and Ukrainian women and give both of these parties opportunity, the men with having a wife and the woman with living the American dream. Our main character Reva has no intention of doing so. She does not want to get married. She is there for dates. She gets paid by date, and that's how she funds her very expensive laboratory. And you guys know this. I told you this before, definitely, but what I didn't tell you is that with this bridal program, Reva meets 2 other girls. They're a sister pair. One of them also goes on dates with wealthy Westerners, and the other one acts as a translator and chaperone in these dates. The bridal program does pair off every woman with their own translator. You know, a lot of those Ukrainian women don't speak English. So the sister duo are also in the bridal program for their own reasons. And they come up to Reva with a very interesting proposition. The sisters basically want to kidnap 12 bachelors, put them in Reva's mobile lab, and drive them off in the woods and broadcast it to the world. Basically, they want to bring attention to this bridal program so that sex tourism can end in Ukraine and a lot of these programs can basically be abolished. However, the girls' activism is derailed by the Russian invasion in Ukraine, and Reva puts them all in danger. She puts them in the middle of this invasion, the 2 girls and the bachelors, because an endangered snail is spotted in the middle of this chaos. Actually, such a fun premise. Like, you have the snails, you have the bridal program, and it just mixed together so well. I was a little confused when I first read this blurb. I was like, how is this gonna come together? It's definitely a very attractive blurb because it's so unique, and I was so impressed with how it was done. I actually had a really, really fun time with it. I love the writing, I love the originality, I love the uniqueness. I also really like the metafiction angle they took. So basically, our author injects herself in a story. There's a chapter where she talks about her creative process during writing this book, her struggles with, being a Ukrainian immigrant in Canada, being part of the diaspora, feeling guilty for feeling safe while her hometown is basically being invaded. We come to understand that this story is also very, very personal to our, I keep saying main character, I mean author. I think like every book is quite personal to every author, but there's a lot of the author in this book in our main character, Yeva. And I thought it was just so clever how she mixed fact and fiction. There's a lot of scenes where she makes the characters act out the scene multiple times in the search of the perfect ending. There's the fictional ending. There's the ending that she wishes that happened. There is endings where it's not the characters, but it's actually her in the scenarios. And then the scene restarts again, and it's actually a bad ending. It's not the ending that the author wanted, or it's a wishful ending. And it was just so fun, actually. Like, I really did enjoy this. I don't know why I'm rating this only a 3-star. I think it's just more like a feeling right now. Maybe it'll grow on me because now that I'm talking about it, I just thought it was all so clever and I really did enjoy it. And now that I know that this book didn't make the shortlist, I'm actually a little bit sad for it. I thought it deserved it. But knowing what I learned about the Booker, I do understand why it didn't make the shortlist as well, because the judges are actually in charge of looking for the next classic, and they're looking for a book. You guys can hear noises. That's my cats. They have the sumis. Chai has the sumis, and it's so rare. Oh my goodness. He's going crazy. Anyways, what was I saying? The judge's definition of a classic is a book that you can reread over and over and always get something new for the book. Maybe it's a new theme that you hadn't noticed before. Maybe it's a new meaning. You can get a new understanding of the book with each reread, and that's what they're looking for. That's their criteria. And this is fun, and this is very of our time. And I don't think it's a book that you could reread the second time and get a new meaning. I think it's very clear on what it wants to do. I do urge you to pick this book up. It was very, very fun and very, very original, wacky, hilarious. That is the end of this video, the end of this vlog. I had a lot of fun reading the Booker long listed books, and I hope you guys have fun too. Again, I'm very, very sorry about the lack of b-roll in this vlog. I feel like since I was filming this vlog for the majority of September, I just completely forgot about it sometimes. Like, I would read the books, sure, but I will forget to get footage of it. If you guys have gotten this far, I'm quite curious to know what you guys think about the Booker long list or even the short list. If you guys read any of the books, what do you think about them? And just in case you have nothing to say about the Booker, but you do want to show that you were here, comment a flashlight or a snail emoji, whichever you prefer. I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys very, very soon.